Yesterday I went out to some of the boards in the middle of our donkey field. Actually the same boards that I found the mole king snake in a couple of videos ago. You can check that out by clicking the iCard in the corner. But anyways, I was going out there. It's the middle of fall. It's a great time to be flipping, so I'm doing as much as I can. Under the third board I flipped, I found this little guy. So this is a southern black racer. These guys are very, very common all throughout the eastern US. Very all over the place. And they're honestly one of my favorites just because they have such a feisty attitude. So you might be wondering why I have them in this little setup as opposed to just filming them out there in the field like I normally do and then just letting it go. And that is because I've always dreamt of keeping a racer colony in captivity. You know, keeping wild-caught parents that I could eventually go and breed captive bred babies, and you know, being one of the first people to do that. I'm sure a couple people have done it, but it's certainly not common, and because of that they're virtually non-existent in the pet trade. As you can see with this guy, they're pretty mean in the wild. This guy's so small he can't even really hurt me, but in the wild they're pretty mean. They're kind of notorious for that among herpers, but I would imagine that in captivity they could be worked with, especially if they were captive bred. So anyways, this guy would be the first step to that process. But for me to keep him, there's many requirements that need to be met. First, because he's so small, I'm going to start him out on crickets. Racers, because they have a high catabolism? Is it catabolism or anabolism? One of the metabolisms. They break down molecules very fast. Their digestive systems work differently than other snakes, and they're very long and very slender. So basically they just need to do lots of smaller meals as opposed to big, large meals. So I'm going to try to start getting him on crickets. If he doesn't take crickets, I'll release him right away. If I can get him to eat crickets, then that's a big step, a big plus. After that, after he gets big enough, then I'm going to try him on a pinky. If I can get him to take a pinky, then we're a go, because he shouldn't have any problems eating mice the rest of his life. But if I can't get him on a pinky, once again, I'll release him into the wild. So those are the two steps that need to happen. If those don't happen, I'll release him in the wild and say, oh well. I should mention I did try this once back in 2015. It was a sub-adult. It was probably 2 or 3 years old. It was a lot bigger. But he tamed down really nicely, and he was the chillest snake ever. But he only ate tree frogs. I could not get him among rodents. I'm hoping, because this guy's a lot younger, he will do a lot better switching over. If that happens and he switches over, and then I can find a mate in the future after I've been successful with one, I'm sure I could be able to be successful with another one. Then I might be able to start my first colony of breeding of these guys, which would be amazing. Of course, I have years to go, so I'll definitely have some good breeding experience with Sheila before this guy's even close to being ready to breed. Also, I know there's going to be some of you out there that are going to be giving me some hate for taking something out of the wild and keeping it in captivity. I said this before and I'll say it again, but I am one of those people who doesn't have a huge problem with taking wild-caught animals under the right conditions. Racers are very abundant in North Carolina. They're not anywhere near becoming endangered, and I'm not taking it and hurting it. If it doesn't eat, I'm gonna let it go. I'm not gonna torture it. I'm not gonna do all these things. If I think it's not healthy and it's due to it being in captivity, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna do everything I can to keep the snake in its best health and what's in its best interests. And if I started a colony of these guys, that's benefiting the pet trade. That's actually helping animals out in the wild. The more animals that we have that are being captive bred by quality breeders, the less animals they're going to need to be imported, and the less reason that big stores like PetSmart and Petco and other big companies that'll mass import animals from the wild, the less reason they'll need to do that. I do not support that, for the record. That is nothing like this. I'm not mass importing a billion racers to a billion people. No. This is one racer I found on our property, on my backyard. This is a very different kind of story. Anyways, that's what I have to say to you if you think you have a problem with me taking this out of the wild. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. I can't stop you. You're entitled to your own opinion, and that's all I can really say. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed meeting our new little friend, and I'll definitely keep you updated in videos about trying to get him eating and how he's doing. So, here's the news. The eraser escaped. Yesterday we had some people over and there were some kids here, and one of the kids was really hands-on. He opened the cage without asking and the eraser escaped. I was devastated. I'm like, oh, not even gonna be able to do anything with it. I was really frustrated. But when I was gone today running some errands, I got a text saying that my sister spotted it in her room somewhere. All the vents were closed and the door was blocked with a towel, so I think there's a good chance he's still in here. So I'm really hopeful, but let's get to work and see what we can find. Oh, there he is! There he is! Oh! Oh! Ha ha! We got him! We got him! Ah!